The government had banned employment. What am I going to do? I said, well, what do I know how to do? It was being DJ in parties. So I came down to Kefi to start what I can call nightclubs. I had already started nightclubs in Kefi. And as at that time, as a young man, people asked me, I wasn't going to church. And people would ask me, I think my father started calling me communist. And some of my friends, if there is a meeting in my village or anywhere, and you put it on a Saturday and on a Sunday, and it clashes with a party, I wouldn't come. And when I come back, and they will want to find me and ask me that I didn't, I say, well, I went to church. They asked me, which church? I would tell them, well, my church is my party. Now, like I said before, Government College Umuahia quickly, restored its reputation. The old boys came together and made sure that those situations that bred allowed such boys that could come in to bring us to Market Expo, to Pedal Expo, do not repeat itself again. And ever since then, the school has returned to its excellent ways. It's the only school in Nigeria right now where the old boys have taken over the school and are rebuilding the school. Now, after my graduation from the University of Nigeria, the next thing we had to do was to go for my National Youth Service Corps. When I went to the National Youth Service Corps, happened, like I said before, I did my NYSC in Ilishan, Raymond. And at the end of that, it was still riotous life. And I said, okay, the government had banned had banned employment. What am I going to do? I said, well, what do I know how to do? It was being DJ in parties. So I came down to Kefi to start what I can call nightclubs. I had already started nightclubs in Kefi. And as at that time, as a young man, people asked me, I wasn't going to church. And people would ask me, I think my father started calling me communist. And some of my friends, if there is a meeting in my village or anywhere, and you put it on a Saturday and on a Sunday, and it clashes with a party, I wouldn't come. And when I come back, and they will want to find me and ask me that I didn't, I say, well, I went to church. They asked me, which church? I would tell them, well, my church is my party. It was like people couldn't understand it. But I stood my ground that good timing and going for parties was my religion. People were shocked, but I didn't give a flinch about what you thought about it. And then I saw the jobs of people like Ben Bruce and another lady, Angelo Nyado, who were show promoters in Lagos. I said I better come to Abuja and start my elementary traction as a show promoter and build my pedigree in Abuja. I had come to Abuja to look around for hotels and houses and halls I could use for night clubbing. Meanwhile, I had started something in Kefi. Like I said, I had a junior sister who had a very serious case of sickle cell. We were now 9. And my parents thought, well, I was brilliant. But when I couldn't go to read medicine, my father was disappointed. And but amongst the children, there was this girl, Chinwenwa, my little sister. She was amazing. She was excellent in handball. At the time, the Imo State Grasshoppers were the rave of the moment. They were winning Africa. And one of the dreams of parents was, if your child was doing so well in that kind of sport, our daughter was about to make it into the state team. Beside that, This girl was making straight A's in physics, chemistry, biology, maths. It was amazing in sports and in academics. And my father would come back with his shoulders high that he now has a daughter that was going to read medicine. But suddenly, a devastating news came. She began to fall ill now and again. Now and again, she would fall ill. And then she was taken to the hospital and was diagnosed of sickle cell disease. So the entire family was, a bit crestfallen. But it didn't bother me. One thing that happened to me to show you the wickedness of the devil was one Christmas, 1984 Christmas. I had organized my graduation party and a graduation disco, so to speak. And on that Christmas Eve, my sister fell seriously ill and got paralyzed and couldn't get up from the bed. And the whole family gathered, and they all whisked her away to the hospital for that emergency. While they were all going to the hospital, I couldn't follow them. I stayed back in the house. The life of my sister didn't mean anything to me because I was thinking about the party that I was organizing that day. The whole family, there was no Christmas in the house. The whole family were in the hospital. But I went to the place, I was organizing my disco party. You know what happened? This girl survived. A couple of days later, and they returned home. But now my father had to now take her to Kefi, bring her to Kefi, because our house was near the general hospital, so that she'd be having quick medical attention. And then I had graduated, finished my NYSC, and came to Kefi. So of all the 9 children, it was 2 of us that were now in Kefi with my father, who was a businessman in produce buy, who has now become a businessman. And so suddenly the sickle cell crisis came up again. And my father, it was like, well, you are now the one to take care of her. So my father took us to the hospital. I was caring for her in the hospital while my father was doing his business. In passage of time while she was in the hospital, I remember this girl, she called me. I think it was like, there was a little New Testament Bible. That was all I could know. I was holding the New Testament Bible. I wasn't so much of a Christian. I couldn't even know what passage to read. All I could do was to put the New Testament Bible under her bed. I couldn't even minister to her. She looked up with a kind of face and called me. In Igbo land, senior brother is there. He called me there. I said, yes. He said, do you think I will survive? I said, you will survive. Coincidentally, the doctors were doing the ward round. So the nurse came and asked me, please let me give them a chance that they are doing ward round. So all of us, we left the hospital ward at the Kefi General Hospital. So while I was outside, the little girl I left, I went outside to wait for the doctors to finish their ward round. The nurse came out, I think it's an Idoma nurse came, the way she contorted her face, she shook her head. I looked up, I said, has she died? She nodded and said, yes. I was devastated. I have never seen that before. My life, instead of me thinking about my sister that was dead, everything about my life, my riotous life, drinking, partying, all the party I came to do, everything became tasteless to me. Suddenly, at the end of the day, we took her home, we buried her. That Christmas, I was no longer going to parties. I stopped drinking. I stopped everything because life had no meaning into me again. And it was then I was sitting down and I went to a place, and it came to pass that I was to mark WAEC. Normally, I marked WAEC. And I was posted to Owerri to mark WAEC. While I was in Owerri, I remembered, I was like, where should I stay and mark this WAEC? I had a friend whose house was opposite the venue where the marking was taking place. But this man was my friend in partying. I said, no, I have stopped all this life. If I go to this man's house now, it was Hydrotech Estate opposite Government College or Government Secondary School, Owerri. I said, no, let me go to another person's house. He was a born-again child of God, a member of the Assemblies of God Church. You know, his name is Maxwell Corey. He's currently Bishop Maxwell Corey. And there, it was from there, I went far away to a place called Nekede, where he lived. And from there, Concord Hotel was near. And one Friday, he told me that there is some decent businessmen and professionals that meet in Concord Hotel. He took me there and went there. What I saw was so beautiful. And I was excited. And I saw many people I knew in school who were worldly people, who were members of the Tixi band. I saw one or two of them. One girl was Akuna Ezebiro. Akuna had given her life to Christ and was singing gospel song. I connected with her immediately. But the dangerous thing was when altar call was made, I refused to respond to the altar call. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the continuation of the story of the life of Chief Cosmas Uzodimma. The greatest lessons you ever learned in your own life didn't happen when everything was going smoothly for you. Whatever changed the course of your life, whatever put you on the right path, didn't happen when you were enjoying parties or dancing and singing. Something had to jolt you, bring you back to your senses. That was exactly what happened to Cosmas Uzodimma. The death of his younger sister. DJ, organizing parties, rolling up and down, the happening man. Sister died. There was nothing he could do about it. That was how God began to talk to him. He himself is avoiding friends that may take him astray now. Now went to the home of a friend of his, a member of Assemblies of God Church, who took him to a meeting, a wonderful meeting. The story will continue. You will see how the finger of God eventually caught up with him. People, life is not about you. Your life actually is not about you. It's not about your peace of mind. It's not about your enjoyment. There is purpose. There is a reason why God brought you into this world. If you don't hold the hand of Jesus, you will never fulfill your purpose. Listen as Cosmas continues to tell us his story. Thank you for tuning in today. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Send our clips to other people. Help them follow what God is doing. God will change somebody's life because of you. Thank you very much. God bless.